Today's lesson is called The Binding of Fenrir. Hello, everyone. My name is Jeff.
And I am Roger. Today we're going to be talking about a story from Norse mythology. Of course, we've got different stories from different mythologies, from Greek mythology, from Roman mythology, from Chinese mythology, but we thought we would go to Northern Europe and talk about a story from Norse mythology, and the title is The Binding of Fenrir. And Fenrir is a wolf, and binding here just talks about the wolf being tied up. And we'll talk about some of the details of this story in just a couple of seconds.
Yeah, the binding of Fenrir. I thought we would be tying up a person, but that's not the case. Fenrir is a mythological wolf. Okay, it's a mythological wolf. This wolf is from Norse mythology. And yes, these days, Norse mythology is in. It's hip. It's cool because of some of those Marvel movies from Marvel comics like Thor and Thor Ragnarok, and movies featuring these characters from Norse mythology. Anyways, folks, with that, it's time for us to get started on this month's literature unit. So let's go ahead and start reading from The Binding of Fenrir.
The Binding of Fenrir. Fenrir the wolf was the son of troublemaker and god of mischief Loki. He had a terrible destiny, one so awful that the other gods feared him. He, along with his siblings, Jormungand and Hel, were prophesied to bring about Ragnarok, the end of the world. The gods of Asgard knew the monstrous three had to be stopped at all costs.
大家好，第一部分我们看到的单字是 destiny， 这个字是名词，表示命运、天命。举例来说 ，The future is uncertain, and people don't know what their destiny will be. 未来是充满不确定性的，而我们也不知道之后的命运会是如何。再来看到的单字是动词 prophesy， 意指预言、预告。例如 ，The woman claimed that she was capable of prophesying the future, but people just thought that she had mental issues. 那位女人宣称她能够预知未来，但人们只当她精神有问题。当字尾的 sy 改成 cy 时，这个字就变成名词，念作 prophecy， 表示预言、预言的能力。举例来说 That sign which is about the prophecy of a forthcoming doomsday is creeping me out. 那个有关世界末日即将到来的标语让我很害怕。再来，我们看到的单字是 monstrous。这个字是形容词，表示非常邪恶、骇人听闻的。例如 I was unable to sleep last night after I watched a movie about the monstrous Jack the Ripper. 昨晚看完一部有关骇人听闻的开膛手杰克的电影后，我无法入睡。又或者说 Back in the late 90s, a number of monstrous murders occurred in Taiwan. 1990年代后期，台湾发生多起骇人听闻的谋杀案。
Okay, so let's summarize the first paragraph here. We'll talk about it sentence by sentence. Again, the star of today's story is a wolf. Its name is Fenrir, and Fenrir the wolf was the son of troublemaker and god of mischief Loki. Loki, of course, is a character in the Thor movies, and Loki, of course, is a character from Scandinavian mythology. I think he's quite a mischievous person, but he's also evil. He's not just a person, but he's a god. And he was punished for doing something. I think he was later bound to a rock, which is kind of interesting because we're talking about binding in today's story. But it's the binding of Fenrir. Fenrir the wolf is the son of Loki, who's a troublemaker. He causes trouble, and he's the god of mischief. And mischief, of course, just refers to people being naughty and causing trouble.
There you go. Mischief is trouble. That's all there is to it. So we've got the god of mischief, Loki. So I get the feeling that Loki likes to make trouble. He often misbehaves, though he might do so in a fun or a playful way. So here, Loki is the god of mischief, so he's going to cause a whole lot of trouble. But one more note on this word mischief. Loki isn't really super evil. He's kind of a bad guy, but he always comes around and he ends up doing the right thing in the end. So he's still a god. He's not a demon or a devil. He's not an entirely bad guy. And that's why we use this word mischief, okay? Mischief is trouble, but it's trouble that people cause in a fun or playful way most often. Like children can get up to no good and they can cause mischief even though they don't mean to. Yeah, kids aren't evil. Anyways, here's a good example sentence. That kid is up to no good. Yes, but don't worry. It's normal for kids to engage in some mischief now and again. Yeah, apparently kids getting into a little bit of trouble, it's actually a good thing. But I digress.
Indeed, I used to get into trouble when I was in grade school. I was quite a mischievous child. Mischievous, of course, is the adjective for the noun mischief. Loki is the god of mischief, and his son is a wolf by the name of Fenrir. Now, he had a terrible destiny, the wolf here. He had a terrible destiny, one so awful that the other gods feared him. So your destiny, of course, is what's going to happen to you for sure. It's kind of written in the stars or something like that. Your fate, your destiny. And it was a terrible destiny. And it was so bad, it was so awful that the other gods were very much afraid of this wolf.
There you go. Maybe the gods there went to a fortune teller. And this fortune teller told the gods that, Fenrir is going to end up badly. He's got a bad or a terrible destiny, and for that reason, these gods, the other gods, feared him. Anyways, he, along with his siblings, Jormungand and Hel, were prophesied to bring about Ragnarok, the end of the world. And there's that word Ragnarok. Boy, is that ever a mouthful. Ragnarok, which means the end of the world. Now that I'm thinking about things, I believe the third Thor movie that was produced by Marvel Comics, I believe that was called Thor Ragnarok. It's a good movie. Check it out. Anyways, all of these gods are afraid, okay? Because apparently Fenrir, along with his siblings, Jormungand and Hel, they're going to bring about the end of the world, or at least that's what the prophecy says. Now, here we've got this phrase, to bring about, okay? If you bring something about, you cause that thing. You kind of make that thing happen.
Exactly. So, of course, they were prophesied to bring this about, to cause this to happen. And I guess that's what you're going to find out if you see a fortune teller. They're going to give you a prophecy, or they're going to tell you what's going to happen in the future. So, yes, Fenrir and his brothers and sisters were supposed to bring about this final battle between good and evil, and hence the end of the world. Now, the gods of Asgard knew the monstrous three had to be stopped at all costs. So, of course, Asgard, as you know, is where all the gods live. It's kind of like the Scandinavian equivalent of Mount Olympus in Greek mythology. So, yes, indeed, that's the center of the universe, and the gods live there in Asgard. The gods who live there knew that, hey, those monstrous three are going to cause the end of the world, and we've got to stop them no matter what. We've got to stop them at all costs. They're monstrous. They're like monsters.
Yes, the monstrous three. These three monsters have to be stopped. Remember, the monstrous three are Fenrir, and then his siblings, Jormungand and Hel, and they have to be stopped at all costs. Now, let's talk about this phrase, at all costs. This phrase is used to make clear that something must be done, okay? Or that something must happen. This thing must be done or must happen regardless of the effort, time or money it takes. No matter what, it has to be done. For example, you could say, we must beat back the barbarians at all costs. The ancient Romans might have said that a long time ago, even though they were probably speaking Latin. Anyways, one more note. At all costs. You can also say at any cost. Those two phrases would be equivalent. All right, folks, with that, it's time for us to take a short break, but don't go away. We'll be right back after this.
Odin threw the snake Jormungand into the ocean that surrounded the human world and banished Hel, the goddess of death, to the underworld. Eldest child Fenrir was still the size of a pup, so Odin let him stay in Asgard, where the gods could keep an eye on him. Tyr, the god of war, was the only one brave enough to approach and feed him.
第二部分，我们首先看到的单字是 banish， 这个动词表示放逐、流放的意思。举例来说 ，About 200 years ago, many prisoners were banished by the British government to Australia. 距今约200年前，许多囚犯被英国政府流放至澳洲。接下来看到的单字是名词 underworld， 意指地狱、阴间。例如，The Buddhists believe that those with sins would encounter bad karma and be stuck in the underworld after death. 佛教徒相信有罪之人将会有恶报，死后也会被困在地狱。下一个单字是 pup， 为名词，意指幼狼、幼犬、动物幼崽。例如，那张幼犬在其母亲遗体旁悲鸣的照片，让全世界都震惊了。英文就是The picture of a pup howling in grief next to its mother's corpse shocked the world.
Okay, so we are now in Asgard, the home of the gods in Scandinavian mythology. And we've got Odin here. He's kind of the main god there, the supreme god, kind of like Zeus in Greek mythology. So Odin threw the snake Jormungand into the ocean that surrounded the human world. Okay, that's one problem taken care of. Remember, we've got those 3 monstrous siblings, and they're going to bring about the end of the world. They need to be stopped at all costs. So, yes, they're going to get rid of the first one, Jormungand, who happens to be a snake. Odin's a pretty powerful person. He threw that snake into the ocean that goes all around the humans. Okay, so very good. The snake is taken care of.
There you go. Step 1 in getting rid of the monstrous 3. Throw the snake, Jormungand, into the ocean. And then step 2 was they banished Hel. Okay, so Odin there threw the snake into the ocean, then banished or got rid of Hel. Hel, you can't come back here. You are out of this kingdom forever. We're putting you into exile. You are banished. You are out of here. We're getting rid of you, and you can't come back. And apparently Hel, everyone, is the goddess of death. So, if I were going to banish a goddess, yeah, I would probably banish the goddess of death, seeing as though death is such a bad thing. Anyways, Jormungand has been thrown into the ocean. Hel has been banished to the underworld. So they sent her away, they banished her, they told her to go to the underworld and to stay there.
Okay, so we've only got one left here. We still got Fenrir the wolf, who happens to be the eldest child. So eldest child Fenrir was still the size of a pup, so Odin let him stay in Asgard, where the gods could keep an eye on him. So, of course, as you know, wolves are like dogs, and when they're small, they're pups or puppies. So here, Fenrir, well, he was a cute little wolf puppy, and Odin probably did not have the heart to send this pup away, so he decided to let the pup, Fenrir, stay in Asgard, and there they could keep an eye on him. They could watch his movement and make sure he did not get into any trouble, to make sure he did not get into any mischief.
There you go. If you keep an eye on someone or something, you watch over that person or that thing closely. You monitor that thing and you keep an eye on that thing. very closely and carefully. Now, one other note here. It says here that Fenrir was still the size of a pup. That's a very cute word. It's a cute word that comes from another cute word, puppy. Baby dogs are called puppies, but you can also call puppies pups. Yeah, the cuteness never ends. Anyways, before we take a break here, we've got one more sentence to read. Next it says, Tyr, the god of war, was the only one brave enough to approach and feed him. So all the gods there in Asgard, they are watching over Fenrir, okay? They don't want him to die, though, so they make sure that he gets fed, okay? And only the god of war, Tyr, has the courage to actually go up to and to approach Fenrir and to feed Fenrir.
Indeed. So that brings us to the end of the second part of our lesson. We're now going to move on to the third part of our lesson. And now let's listen and find out what happens next.
As time went by, Fenrir grew and soon became enormous. The gods realized that he was too dangerous to roam freely. One day they challenged him to show them his strength. Fenrir knew he was strong, so he didn't think twice when they brought out a chain to bind him. Once bound, he snapped it easily. They brought a second, much tougher chain. This time he struggled, but he dug his paws into the ground and broke it, scattering pieces everywhere.
今天的最后一个单字是动词 roam， 意指漫步于、闲逛于。例如 We saw herds of bison roaming across the plain as we drove by. 当我们开车经过时，看到成群的野牛在平原上漫步。
All right, folks, the name of the story is The Binding of Fenrir. I wonder when he's going to get tied up. When will this pup, this growing pup, get tied up? Anyways, all the gods there in Asgard, they are scared of Fenrir. He's got a terrible destiny, and he's becoming a big and kind of ferocious and scary wolf. Apparently, only the god of war, Tyr, could approach him and feed him. All the other gods were too scared to do so. Anyways, as time went by, our article continues, Fenrir grew and grew and soon became enormous. Ooh, and this is starting to sound super, super scary. We're talking about Fenrir, a wolf growing to an enormous size. That sounds super scary. By the way, the word enormous means really, really big. Really, really large, huge, gigantic, gargantuan. You guys get the idea.
We could say the U.S. foreign debt is enormous. The American government owes lots of money to other countries. But here, of course, this wolf is no longer a pup. It's getting bigger and bigger. It is enormous. Maybe it's even as big as an elephant or a giant or a dinosaur or who knows. And the gods realized that he was too dangerous to roam freely. And to roam just means to go about, wander around, go wherever you want. And yes, he's too dangerous to do that. He's going to cause trouble. He's going to cause mischief. So he needs to be controlled. So one day they challenged him to show them his strength. So they said to this little pup, who's now a big wolf, hey, you think you're such a tough wolf? Show us what you got. Show us your strength. Maybe it was some kind of trick or something.
Now, Fenrir knew he was strong, so he didn't think twice when they brought out a chain to bind him or to tie him up, although you can't tie a chain, okay? Anyways, moving on, it also says once bound, once kind of tied up, he snapped it easily. He snapped this chain. He broke the chain, no problem. So then, or afterwards, they brought a second, much tougher chain. I don't think he's going to break or snap this one. Anyways, before we move on here, let's talk about the word tougher. It's the comparative form of the adjective tough. And here, when something is tough, it's very durable. So this is a tougher chain. It's tougher than the one that came before. It's going to be stronger and more durable. And Fenrir probably won't be able to break this one.
Well, this time he struggled. Yes, it was a very strong chain, but he dug his paws into the ground and broke it, scattering pieces everywhere. So, yes, even though this chain was stronger than the first one, Fenrir was still able to break it into 1,000,000 pieces.
So what are they going to do? There's no way they can bind him, so he's going to roam freely, and he's a big, scary, enormous wolf. Oh my goodness, how scary. Anyways, folks, with that, the first portion of our story called The Binding of Fenrir is in the books and complete, and it's time for you guys to hear from the Chinese teacher.
各位同学大家好，我是 Hanny。 我们来看今天的文法重点。课文第二部分有一个句子是 Eldest child Fenrir was still the size of a pup, so Odin let him stay in Asgard, where the gods could keep an eye on him. 那这边有两个文法重点，第一个是 where 当关系副词的用法。好 where 当关系副词呢，它可以用来引导关系子句，修饰表示地方的先行词。如果先行词它是非特定不明确的地方名词，那就必须使用限定用法， where 的前面不加逗号。那这时候 where 所引导的关系子句就是用来限定它先行词的范围，像是 This is the place where we first met， 这是我们第一次相遇的地方。那例句里面的先行词 the place 它是不明确的地点，对方不知道我们是在说哪一个地方，所以这时候就用关系子句Where we first met 来限定它的范围，说明是我们第一次相遇的地方。那这时候关系副词 where 的前面就不能加逗号咯。好，那如果先行词是特定明确的地方名词，那就是用非限定用法， where 的前面必须加逗号。那么 where 引导的关系子句是用来补充说明先行词，例如 We are planning a trip to Osaka,where the music festival will be held. 我们正在规划要去大阪玩，那音乐季会在那边举行。例句里面的先行词 Osaka 大阪，它是特定的地方名词，我们不需要限定是哪一个大阪，所以后面的关系子句 Where the music festival will be held 只是用来补充说明说那场音乐季会在大阪举行。好，那这时候关系副词 where 的前面必须加逗号。那我们再回头来看看课文的句子 Asgard 阿斯加它是明确特定的地点，不用去限定范围，所以后面的关系子句 Where the gods could keep an eye on him 就是用来补充说明在阿斯加众神可以看管 Fenrir， 那这是非限定用法，所以我们看到句子里面的 where 它前面有加逗号。好，第二个重点是 keep an eye on， 字面上的意思是保持一只眼睛在什么什么的上面。那其实 eye 在这边它是表达注视，必须用单数表达。Keep an eye on somebody or something 就是指看照某人或是留心注意某人或某事物。那顺便补充两个跟 eye 有关的片语，像 keep an eye out for somebody or something 它是用来指说留意寻找密切注意某人或某事物，例如 Sean is keeping an eye out for a cheap used car， Sean 他正在密切留意便宜的中古车。那第二个片语是 have one's eye on something， 好，那这个片语可以用来表达说看上某事物，想要把它买下来，例如 Gina has her eye on a painting at the art gallery， Gina 在艺廊看上一幅画了。好，那么以上是今天的重点整理，接着我们回顾今天的单字吧。
Mischief.The twins' most recent act of mischief was to trick teachers at school by switching identities. Destiny. If someone offered to tell you your destiny, would you want to know? Monstrous. It's hard to understand why anyone would do such a monstrous crime. Enormous. Vance caught an enormous fish during his camping trip last weekend. Roam. Some people wonder if it's dangerous to allow stray dogs to roam freely.
Tough. We need to use a tough material to make the dancers' costumes, or they will wear out too quickly.
Okay, everyone. With that, today's article is now complete. But, as always, we sure hope that you guys have enjoyed reading along with us. Anyways, I'm Jeff.
I am Roger.
See you next time.